Welcome back to Pam on the Pitch. I'm your host, Pamela. And today we do have a very special guest, my dear friend, Marvell Wynne, also known as Mr. SD, which I named him that myself. But before we bring him on, how is everyone doing today? We have so many fun updates to go over. There's been a lot of changes in Major League Soccer, and a big one being that we do have a new signing for Columbus Crew. New England Revolution lost a player. We are moving, we are grooving. But first, hi to everyone here. I see Stephanie in the chat. Marvell is here waiting for us to go live. But before we bring him on, I do want to go over what our topics are for the day. First and foremost, we're gonna cut to the chase here, okay? The US Open Cup that you guys have heard me talk about for the last few weeks. We talked about the importance of winning it and why LA Galaxy needs to try and win it. And we unfortunately lost yesterday. That is right, we lost. We lost against a USL team. Hey, Mickey, welcome back. You're just in time to hear me rant about the fact that LA Galaxy has lost against a USL team. Now, listen, I get it, okay? Teams lose. It's not about that. LA Galaxy for years now has been in this, we're trying, we're growing, like we're going to come back harder next time. We're going to work harder. We're going to do this. And at this point, as a fan of this team, I just want to know when we will actually see some change. And I think I can speak for all LA Galaxy fans. It is becoming very hard to continue to support a team that continues to be a lot of talk with no change. And I do not blame the team. I don't blame any of the players because I've learned that it really isn't the players. It's not. And for anyone who ever has anything to say about their team not performing well, there's usually a lot more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And with the LA Galaxy, that has been what has been happening for seasons now, for years. I don't know what needs to change. I don't know who needs to get fired. I mean, I hate using that word, but I think that's just the reality of it. Something has to change, and I don't know what it's going to take. I don't think that changing our roster is going to be the only fix. Now, I know that Chicharito has been rumored to be leaving. If he leaves, obviously we will bring in new notable players that are strong assets to any team. Chicharito is an amazing player. I think he's performed well. I think that we have other guys on the team as well who have not only helped him out on the field, but have shown that they are strong contenders. Julian Araujo, who has been rumored to possibly be going across seas and going to Europe, plays incredibly. I have been a huge fan of him. You guys have heard me talk about him on the podcast, yet we're still not being able to perform. Now, LAFC has been at the top. LAFC does have a new coach, but I think there's more that happens with LAFC that we've seen a change. I want to know what the secret is. What's the secret sauce? Share it with the LA Galaxy people, please. Please. I don't know what it is, but as somebody who is loyal to the soil, you will not see my loyalty to the LA Galaxy waver. It's not going anywhere. But it's just getting really hard to sit there and keep telling everyone who's like, why LA Galaxy over LAFC? And the truth is, it's because I'm just very loyal and I will ride or die for any team that I support. I will be an LA Lakers fan till the day I die. I will represent for the Dodgers till the day I die. If you make me a fan of yours, you guys, you have me as a fan for life. I will be your biggest cheerleader. That goes for my friends too. They know that. But LA Galaxy, we are out of the US Open Cup. Now, I don't want to say that is going to be like an end-all be-all kind of thing, but I think it is starting to make fans look at them more and be like, okay, like what's going to give? So I don't know what's going to need to change, but we're out of the US Open Cup. So moving forward, more brighter news, good news. Matt Turner has officially said farewell to the New England Revolution. That is right. This weekend was the last weekend that he was part of the team, and he is off to play for Arsenal, you guys. That is amazing for him. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a huge career move. Sure, it's going to be very scary, but good for him. This ties into last week's episode where I said, soccer is changing in the U.S. More and more, we have players going to Europe. We have more and more players playing overseas. And not only that, we are getting more players coming to Major League Soccer. Messi, who is rumored to be coming to Inter Miami. Now, if you do the math, he is going to be investing. That's a known thing. He's going to invest in the team. I do see him coming here and playing. I do. I do. And I've been thinking about it a lot since I talked about it last week on my show. I think the likelihood of him actually playing at least 2 years in Major League Soccer is very high. Why wouldn't he? Again, it's rapidly changing. It's changing faster than most of us can grasp. And I think that Messi's going to come and I think he's going to play for Inter Miami. And I'm actually going to bring that up to my guest who I'm going to bring on here soon. But I think we are beginning to see a huge shift in Major League Soccer. Now, I wish good luck to Matt Turner. I actually was a fan of Arsenal. I'm a fan of Chelsea now because they got Pulisic. However, I think that's going to be a great career move for him. And I think that's only going to help him as a player, which means when he plays for our team during the World Cup, it's going to help us too. So good for him. And I wish you all the best in Arsenal. Now, another big signing, another big move here in Major League Soccer again. We're making some moves here, guys. Columbus Crew has signed Cucho, a high-level striker from Watford, for $10 million. $10 million. What in tarnation, you guys? There was a time where Major League Soccer just to play, like I think their minimum cap or whatever, like their minimum pay that they had to pay a player was 30,000 or something crazy. I know it's higher now because the players have like protested and they did what they had to do to be like, nope, we are professional athletes. We deserve more. And they've gotten more. But $10 million. $10 million. So let's see what this will do for Columbus Crew. They have Zardes, who used to play for LA Galaxy. I know he wasn't performing as best as he could. So this will be a fighting force for Columbus Crew. So let's see if this will be the missing key component. Now, I think it is time to bring Marvell on. Is he ready for us? Mickey, I can't see what you said, but hi. I heard your pain. Oh, I feel your pain being a Manchester United fan. You know, you win some, you lose some, is what I always say. Oh my God, was that Marvell? Did you say hi?
I said hi to everyone.
I don't know if they can see you. So my chat is below. I don't know if you guys were able to see Marvell, but Marvell said hi to everyone. We see that in the chat. Mickey, Marvell is on live now. We have Marvell the Shell, Mr. SD, the 100-meter runner in 10 seconds is here live on Pam on the Pitch. Marvell, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's good to see you again.
It's always a pleasure to see you. How are you healing up with your injury back there?
Oh, it's actually doing pretty good, actually. A lot of my friends say that they can barely see it. So the swelling's gone down a lot, but still
Oh,
adjusting.
good. Well, we're going to tie
Hmm.
into your injuries here in a second. But before we get to your career, I do want to talk about the fact that your dad was a Major League Baseball player. So why don't you talk us through what it was like growing up with a father who was already a professional athlete? So that already introduces you to the world of what your life could be if you made it as a pro.
Yeah, exactly. So early on, it started off with just kind of him wanting to throw the ball around, me wanting to kick the ball around. So there was always
Oh,
some tension. Oh, already tension early. But I was introduced to soccer first, so I mean, running around and kicking a ball was just a lot more fun than throwing a ball, waiting and waiting and waiting. So, yeah, I mean, you weren't ever going to give me that slow. But he was actually very supportive of everything I did, which was actually kind of cool. He traveled a lot, so I spent a lot of time with my mom. But whenever he came back, it was just great to see him again. So it kind of, in a strange way, had me really appreciate my time I had with my dad because he was going back and forth a lot. So when he was around, we just kind of did our own thing. It was actually pretty cool.
oh, I did. So he was playing actively when you were born.
Yeah. So I think he stopped playing in '92, and he actually finished off in Japan. So before that, he played for the Pirates, Padres, Cubs, and then yeah, the Hanshin Tigers in Japan.
No way. I actually have a friend who played for the Tigers in Japan.
Yeah.
I swear, we nicknamed him the Red Dragon, because I guess everyone gets like all these little nicknames. But I do have a friend who played over in Japan as well, who comes from a Major League Baseball background. So your dad played for the Pirates, and that's where you were actually born, correct?
Yep, born in Pittsburgh.
Born in Pittsburgh, and then when your dad moved over to the Padres, is when you found yourself in Poway.
Yes, it was. We bounced around. We were in like a downtown San Diego area for a bit. Then we were in Rancho Bernardo, but eventually ended up in Poway where my mom still is, and that's where I went to high school and like a lot of my elementary school. So I'm a Powegian.
Wow, good. Shout out to Poway, you guys. If you don't know, now you know. We're putting you guys on the map, Poway. But moving forward, so you've never played baseball.
Oh, I played a lot of sports. I played a little bit of baseball. So I started off with soccer, then baseball, then basketball, flag football. My mom wouldn't let me play full contact. Played a little bit of volleyball. Of course, I ran track, and I was actually in gymnastics for about a year
What?
as well. So I was all over the place.
Wow. So when you got introduced to soccer, you said you were introduced to soccer first. Was that your mom's doing? Because I know you were obviously with her more than your dad, since baseball is a very demanding and very long season.
Very long season. I mean, well, I talk about MLS season now. I mean, preseason's in January, postseason goes to December. I mean, so that's already
That's true.
crazy, but it wasn't like that when I got into the league. But I was actually into soccer because one of my friends went to go play like little indoor soccer when he was 4 years old, I was three, and they were down a man, so my mom just kind of volunteered me. And at 3 years old, I started playing, and then I just kept running.
Oh my gosh, that is the sweetest thing I've ever heard. I could just see a little 3-year-old kicking a ball around.
Oh, and she made sure I wear shin guards and knee pads every game.
You know what? Shout
Big
out to your mom for
blue knee pads.
Marvell. Shout out to her. She definitely was like, if my son's gonna be out there, he is gonna be protected at all costs.
Hmm.
And I don't blame her for not having you play the full contact football because obviously the scientists have proven that it is damaging to the brain.
This is true.
Yes. So obviously you said your dad was a big influence. At what point I did read an article that you said at 6 years old you knew you wanted to try and play professionally. Now at 6 years old, Marvell, most kids are climbing trees, they're drinking their Kool-Aids. I was probably munching on some Dunkaroos, trying to play hide and go seek with some neighborhood kids. And you at 6 years old decided I want to be a professional soccer player. What led you to that at such a young age?
It would have just had to have been just how good it felt. It was. It wasn't even something that was I would consider just an outside factor of my life. It was something that I kept wanting to do, and I didn't want to stop. I was that kid that if I had a game the next day, I would have my shin guards on the day before. When I went to bed, I would think about how I was going to play the next day. And then, of course, I would have my cleats on as soon as I woke up. The game's in the afternoon. It was just, I don't know. It just felt like it was more a part of me than a choice. So I just said, I would love to do this for a living. And honestly, throughout my entire career and all the way up until I made it pro, it never felt like it was an option. It was just something that
It
I
was
constantly
completely
did. And there you go.
That's so fascinating to me because obviously your dad played professionally himself and had his own long career. I wonder if that did your dad also have the same feeling where he just knew like baseball was that was what he wanted to do?
He was telling me that in high school, he was also very fast. That's why he was a leadoff hitter. So, you want to get that guy on base, right? So he knew that he was very fast. And at his school, I mean, it was, he said he grew up kind of hood. So he's saying if there was a way out, that was it. So he just kind of stuck to it, kept going for it, and it went for him. So for
Wow.
him, it was like I need to do this to get to where I want to be, and it worked out.
Wow. So for you, obviously, it was just different. It just lived inside of you to play soccer. And this is why I love doing what I do because I love this sport. I do. I mean, I support it. I want to see its growth. And it's just something I've always been passionate about. And I truly do believe that there's some people like you that just get it. They just get the beauty of the game and the passion that comes with it and the true love for the sport. I feel like it does live within some people, and obviously you're one of those people. So obviously you made the choice you wanted to go pro. In high school, I saw that you did play track. I know now you said you've played every single sport known to man, apparently. But you had a chance to focus on running. So you were fast just like your dad. What made you choose to always just focus on soccer? Was it just that you knew like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life? It's not a choice, it's just something I want to do. Do you feel like those other sports were just a choice just to do it?
Yeah, the other sports were kind of just why not? I'll check it out, I'll try it. And actually, when it comes to, soccer being my passion and all sort of stuff, I give all the credit in the world to my parents because, my dad wasn't like, you're going to play baseball, you're going to play baseball. And my mom didn't say, you can't do anything else but one thing. They let me explore and see what I actually wanted to do. And the love of soccer stayed within me because they allowed it to. They weren't very pressured. So I played with a lot of players that were a lot better than me as kids, but their parents were so harsh on them that when they got some freedom, like college, they didn't have that pressure, so they just stopped playing. Whereas I was able to
Yeah.
have the option to play soccer, and I wanted to, so the love stayed with me. And
That was
even those
going to be
other
my next
sports,
question was going to be the influence that your parents had on your career. And I guess they are
uh,
right there. Goes to show that they played a big role in your career.
huge, especially my mom. She took me everywhere, when my dad wasn't around, all that stuff. And even for track, like I knew it was fast, but I ran track in order to get my technique down so that I could be faster at soccer.
No way. I would have never guessed that. So you actually were doing it and you beat. I mean, I literally was just telling the producer here. I was like, I don't even know how many minutes it would take me to run 100 meters, let alone seconds. Seconds. You did it in 10 seconds. That is insane to me. But it's because you were obviously just trying to make sure that you'd be better on the pitch.
Yeah, and actually, I did get an offer to go to UCLA for track as well as soccer, but I chose soccer.
Wow. So that was going to be my next thing. You did end up playing for UCLA, but you only played there for 2 years because in 2006, you were the first overall draft pick. How did that feel, Marvell? Because to be the very first choice I mean, that's got to be like, I mean, that's like getting drafted in general is a win. But being the first person that like the teams are like, no, we want him. And we don't want to pick anyone else. We want that guy first. How did that feel?
It was absolutely wild. So yeah, so I went to UCLA for one season, and then we had the U20 championships,
Uh-huh.
and I was seen by teams from Germany, the Netherlands, France, Monaco, stuff like that. But I was too worried I wasn't good enough, so I went back to college for a year to see if I could get any better. And during that time, I grew as a player, especially with the players that were around, very skillful guys, and a lot of them went pro. So when it came to going like, Generation Adidas and all that, it was kind of nerve wracking because even on that day, I think Chivas USA had just come, so I think Bob Bradley had the first choice, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna go for a forward of some sort. But then there was a trade, Mo Johnston from the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars at the time, traded up and another pick, and he chose me, and I did not expect that at all. But I mean, what an experience!
Yeah, where were you when it happened? Were your parents with you?
I was in, I think that draft was in Pennsylvania, and my mom was there to see me get drafted. And apparently, when I was doing like my little speech, I had a scarf and I just kept crumpling it up. Like I just had like just involuntary movements, and I was so nervous.
I don't blame you. How old would you have been?
At the time of the draft, the 2006, I was 19.
Wow, 19 years old getting drafted to play professionally.
Across the
So
country
how
too.
what?
Across the country too.
I
I'd never been
know.
to New Jersey before.
No way. I mean, yeah, a small town kid from Poway making making it all the way out there and then getting drafted to New York too to
Mhm.
play in New York. So how many seasons were you with New York and how was that experience? At 19 years old, you're obviously new to the game, but you were also known and considered to be one of the fastest players in the league during your time in Major League Soccer.
So my first year, I mean, what a what a skill gap when it comes to college and going against professionals, especially some season ones that I was with. I had Tony Miola in the goal, and up to that point, he was quite legendary. And being fast wasn't going to cut it. I mean, the teammates that I had knew I was coming in number one overall. They knew I was fast, but because they knew that I was fast, they knew I was going to use it. So all they had to do was just get in front of me, and I can't go through them. So I had to learn how to pass and move, and also use other abilities in order to get by. So they actually helped me out a lot, and I was actually there for about a year in New York.
Wow. And then where did you go after that?
After that, I was in Toronto for 3 years,
And
and
then
that
where
and
did you go?
Toronto's a beautiful city. And then I was in Colorado for 5 years,
And that's where you won.
the MLS Cup.
There we go. I was hoping you were going to say that earlier. Yes. You won the MLS Cup with the Colorado Rapids, and you actually beat them in Toronto, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I love when I read things like that because it's literally like poetic justice to me. It is.
Oh, it felt
Now,
so good.
oh, I bet. I bet. And also, yeah, shout out to Toronto and honestly, most of Canada. I love Canada. I think it is a beautiful country. I'm obsessed with Vancouver and Toronto. I always say I'd go to Vancouver or Toronto any day.
They're
So,
beautiful. I absolutely agree.
yeah, no, absolutely. I wish I could go back. And hopefully, I mean, now that things are better, I will go back. But tell us about how that experience was. Obviously, I've had a lot of people on here, and I want to hear your perspective. Getting traded is part of it, right? It's like with coaches. Coaches, the LAFC coach was just telling me, he's like, you get hired knowing you're going to get fired. It's just a part of the game. You're not going to be a coach forever for a team. You're going to get fired. At one point, you go to the next one. Kind of like athletes. You know, most athletes don't stay with one team forever. You kind of know you're going to get traded at some point. So, how does that feel every time you get traded? I know sometimes there is no warning sign, it just happens. Sometimes you guys know it's coming. Sometimes you guys get off a plane and you're like, no, you got to go pack up your stuff. You're leaving.
Uh, exactly. So getting traded from New York, I kind of saw it coming. Toronto was definitely out of nowhere. We had a game on Saturday in Columbus, and it was a Wednesday. I get a call from Colorado telling me about flight information. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then my agent calls me, tells me that I got traded. Then my coach calls me, and then he's like, yeah, so sorry, but you got traded. So then I fly to LA because Colorado's playing the Galaxy, and they have a game on Friday. So I get traded on Wednesday. I fly to LA on Thursday. I meet my roommate and my coach on Thursday. I meet the rest of the team Friday morning at breakfast, and then I start in the game that afternoon. Actually, no, it was against Chivas. And then I start in the game that afternoon, and we end up winning. But the
Oh,
feeling of being traded, I mean, it hurts at first, but my dad was actually the one to tell me that it's a compliment. That just means someone wants you more than where you are. So you're gonna go somewhere where they want you, so it's a good thing. And I just took that with me for the rest of my career.
wait, that's actually incredible advice. That's really neat. And I think it's very unique that you have a father who basically walked in the same shoes you did, just in another sport.
I mean, he showed me. I mean, again, he wasn't fully all over me all the time, trying to tell me what he would do and all that sort of stuff. He was just very open and receptive to everything I had to say, and he'd be like, "Boy, been there before."
He's like, been there, done that. And he's like, just
Mhm.
consider yourself lucky because another team wants you.
Exactly, and it really helped me out. It really did.
I mean, that is true. I do want to obviously talk to you about your time in Colorado because I know that was a big part of your career too. Obviously, winning the cup is a huge victory. Not many players can say they will ever win a cup. You know, some players will retire never winning, and you at least did get to do that with Colorado. Um, but with that being said, you know, it is obviously a part of the sport. I know it never gets easy. So I think that's really neat that your dad got to like kind of share that with you.
Yeah, it meant a lot because, I mean, obviously, most, if not all, professional athletes are their own worst critics. So if there comes a time where a coach is basically saying we don't want you anymore or we don't need you, that's gonna, if I mean, if you're not in the right state of mind, that's gonna be a really difficult blow. And then
Yeah.
the next team you go to, you might start off thinking like, oh, this is my second choice, or I don't even want to be here. And would you get for me? Would you trade for me? You start valuing yourself on what happened within the trade. But if you just think of it as, you know what, I'm gonna be here and I'm not gonna let this coach down. I'm not gonna let these teammates down. Watch me earn my place on this squad.
I love that you say earn this place on the squad because that's a big thing that I think a lot of athletes too, or a lot of people don't realize about athletes is you have to continuously show that you deserve that spot. You have to continuously earn it time and time and again, week by week, game after game, you're constantly having to prove yourself. And that's a lot of pressure. I mean, it is. And I don't blame you for, I didn't realize you guys could obviously Google the contract, and see what you were traded for and what they got in return for you. But it is, I mean, it's a mental sport too. It's not just physical, it's very mental.
Yeah, I've had coaches that they prefer competition. Like coaches have straight up, brought me into the locker room and said, "So we're trading whoever for another right back because we believe competition is good." Like they just told me, like you seem pretty comfortable in position, and we're not trying to replace you, but we don't want you getting too comfortable, so we're trading in another right back. Just because maybe we might be a little light in that position, but at the same time, just know this is not your forever spot.
Wow. So tell me about Colorado then, because that ended up becoming your home for a while.
Yeah, that's the town I had the most years in, 5, and I loved it. I mean, Denver was just like a really fun kind of city. Like the whole city itself likes having fun. They have Denver cruisers on Wednesdays. You just see people going around. It might be a '70s thing. See a bunch of fake fros and bright colors and just going around from place to place and hanging out. The altitude is real, very, very real. And actually,
I've
something
learned
I
that
would
the hard
do.
way myself. The hard way.
Oh,
I was not.
yeah. I got you. There's actually a little tell. Like when we were playing at home, some of the forwards they'd be, around the 65th, 70th minute or so. I'm always watching them, but if their lips started to get chapped, I knew that they were dehydrated, and I knew they weren't going to run that much further or that much longer. So in a way, I would start like poking them and like getting them a little agitated because like, what do you? You're not going to run it. You're not going to try to run after the ball over my head. First of all, you shouldn't do that anyway. But I know for a fact you're not going to last half as long because you're going to need some water.
Oh my gosh. So wait, the hometown advantage is very real in Colorado, huh?
Oh, it's very real. And when we went to sea level, I felt like I can play 2 games in a row.
I'm never gonna look at the Colorado Rapids the same ever again. I'm not. I'm not. You just changed my perspective. And I do like the Colorado Rapids. I think they're actually having a good season. But now I'm
Yeah,
gonna have that in mentality all the time. I'm always gonna be like, oh my God, they're like gonna play better because they're sea level.
think about it. It's
I
real.
am now. I am. So tell me what it was like to win the MLS Cup with them.
Oh, it was such a surreal feeling because the whole year we were never. I mean, I think we snuck in. I think in seventh out of the 8 teams that made the playoffs. And the way that year went, we actually won the Eastern Conference Championship, and it
Hmm.
was us versus San Jose. And
Oh,
we
ironic.
just
You ended up playing for
oh,
them.
it's wild. And the thing was, like, we weren't a team that went out and we just blew up teams. We were just that team that was very solid defensively. Our coach, Gary Smith, I mean, our trainings were so repetitive and so boring. But once you got into the pitch, it was like a machine. Before I got the ball, I knew where everybody was, and it just went well. And
Wow.
one of my teammates at the time, Quincy Miracle, gave us the best compliment ever. He was like, "I just knew that if we were to score one goal, we weren't getting scored on. Like we had a very solid defense. We all knew how to get on the right page and everything. So I think just that kind of we're not going to lose mentality versus we're going to come out and just dominate really brought us all the way through to the finals against Dallas. And they were having some crazy, like, most wins at home or longest undefeated streak in the league or in the history of the league at the time.
Wow. And then you guys went in there and ended up getting that dub.
Yeah. Then we went in there and apparently it was a super cold MLS Cup. Some people say it was boring, but I'll tell you what. I mean, I think our second goal was Makumba Kanji was going for a cross, and on his cross, Ugo Ehemelu came through his knee and tore his ACL. The ball bounced off, I think, George John and went to the goal. So it was kind of like an own goal situation, but we already made our sub, so we were down to 10 men with like 10 minutes left, and I mean it was absolutely wild. I mean, we hung on. Matt Pickens came up with one of the greatest saves in MLS Cup history, in my opinion, with a shot straight in the ground from like 12 out from George John to try to get some retribution. But I mean, I still remember that game so vividly.
I love that. I'm one, congratulations. I know obviously at this point it's been many years. But I
Mhm.
think like you said, you can still remember it so vividly because that's something that you can never forget. That's again, most players, that's their goal is to win a cup at some point, right? To be on a team, to be a winning team. So congratulations for doing that with the Colorado Rapids, but then you go to San Jose. So what was that trade like? Were you ready for that one? Was that kind of one that you're like, you know what, I think I might get traded? Or was that a similar situation to Toronto where you're like, wait, what? I'm leaving?
I kind of felt that one. I mean,
Really?
even going to the off season,
Okay.
uh, Paul Bravo at the time, he was pretty sure. He's like, we're considering you one of those players that's on the bubble, we would say. And I knew because I believe for a center back, I had a pretty high price tag. And if when you're on the bubble, they're gonna go for players that are cheaper, typically in MLS, back in my day. So I kind of had a feeling I was gonna go somewhere. And when the reentry draft started happening, I had actually talked to Carl Robinson, who was the coach of Vancouver at the time, and we played together in Toronto. We started going to talks. He kind of had that contract already. He's like, all right, we just got to wait for our turn in the draft. But San Jose comes out of nowhere and they swoop me up. And I was
No
like,
way.
this was not according to plan. And to be honest, one of my friends said, because the draft was going on, and one of my friends texted me and said, congratulations, you're going back to California. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you're going to San Jose. I got on my phone. I was like, wait a second. My agent's like, I don't know what happened.
Vancouver. You're like, I think you mean Vancouver?
I know. I would I would have gone back to Canada. I was in Toronto. I loved it.
You would have
Yeah.
thrived in Vancouver. I could have seen you. You and Jay, would Jay have been there during that time? Demerit?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
Game
Yeah.
over. Are you kidding me? You two in Vancouver would have been, I would have paid to hang out with you guys. I'm like,
Ball
can I
ball.
I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah. That would have happened. Then he'd get one for the whole bar as he does.
100%. So then you find out you're not going to Vancouver, which would have been incredible, but you end up playing for San Jose.
And honestly, I loved it too. I mean, I like Dominic Kinnear as a coach. Got to hang out with Chris Wondolowski. He's like such a great guy. Shea Salinas, who's just has one of the best hearts ever. I was there with my boy Chad from UCLA and also Toronto. I mean, it was also a great experience. I really liked having time to play in San Jose.
And that time obviously ended up being cut short. And this was a part of the story that I really was intrigued about because obviously, based on what I've read, any injury that's going to lead to a career-ending injury is, heartbreaking for any athlete. You see it in baseball. People who get Tommy John surgery could be career-ending for a lot of pitchers. You see it in soccer. People who tear their ACL, sometimes they never come back the same. Yours was very different. So walk me through that season. You're going in, you're training, everything is fine, correct? Do you feel okay during your trainings, or did you start to feel like something was wrong?
So this was going into the 2017 season, and I actually just signed a new 2-year deal with the Quakes. So, before every season and at the end of every season, we have entrance physicals and exit physicals. So in the entrance physical, I mean, I've been working out all season. I'm ready to go. And they're like, okay, well, your EKG just came back a little funny, but we're gonna go, give you an ultrasound, see what else is up there. So they go in and they're like, okay, we're gonna have to send you to a specialist because my aortic root was a little bit dilated. So they're basically like, so your aortic root should be a certain size, but the bigger it gets, it's like a water balloon, then it could just boom. So sometimes if you see an athlete that just kind of holds their chest for a second, they kind of go to one knee and then fall over, it's because their aortic root kind of burst. So they're saying we're a little bit scared of this, so let's see what we can do. Then they send me up to Stanford and they say, we've done this procedure several times and we believe that we can get it repaired and get you back on the field. I go back and forth with my agent, the league, and they say they'll uphold my contract if I go for it. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So then March 23rd, I had my open heart surgery.
That isn't, how old are you?
29.
Open heart surgery at 29. And the only person I can think of right now is your mom. Your
Oh
mom
yeah.
who did her best to protect you at every sport, at every level. How was that having to break that news to your parents?
They are they're ducks on a pond, like they say like they're super calm on top, but underneath the legs are just turning a mile a minute.
Wait,
Man, did I just date my? Is that an old thing to say? Oh yeah, yeah. So she was like, my mom, of course, she just worries about my health, like straight up, just all
Well,
right, whatever you do to be
4 years
healthy.
old, you had shin guards and knee pads to play indoor soccer.
Yeah, yeah. Would she, I mean, if she could, she'd wrap a heart pillow around my heart if she could.
Oh,
But
bubble wrap
she
you,
was,
bubble wrap boy.
yeah, she was a little nervous. She was scared, but she knew that the procedure was the best route to go because they said if I waited a little longer, then I was gonna have the surgery anyway.
That's
So I might as well get it done now, and it could potentially, I'd be able to heal quicker the younger I am. So if I waited longer, the recovery could have been worse, and who knows what other things could have happened to me at the time.
wow. So your parents obviously, like any parents, had to accept it. It is what it is, and just hope for the best on the other side of it. So your surgery ends up becoming successful. And once you start healing and you're going through the healing process, take us through that because obviously, as an athlete, you're eager, right? You want to get back out on the pitch. You just signed a new 2 year contract. You want to get back to being healthy. The doctors are telling you that you can, but that's not the case because I did see that one, Major League Soccer decided that it still wasn't going to be the best choice for you. And then you did get a second opinion and they agreed. So walk us through what that was like for you because that is what ended up being the career ender for you was that your heart just wasn't going to be safe for you to be playing professionally anymore.
Yeah, that broke me a bit. Um, so, after 6 months or so, why I wanted to quicken the process was, MLS stopped paying me. I'm like, what happened? You said you on my contract. I said, well, you're not playing, and you have to be on the field to, earn that money. So again, I talked to my surgeon, my cardiologist at Stanford. They say you're good to go. So then I go to the MLS doctor, and he says, I'm a little worried about some inflammation around with the artificial material and your organic tissue meet, so I can't really clear you.
Oh,
Then we get another opinion at Mayo Clinic. I get brought in front of uh, anonymously in front of a panel of 6 cardiologists, and they're like, "Is this 30-year-old male at, at or lower risk than an average person after having the surgery?" And unanimously said that he is not. So I think that was around October. So
wow.
being someone who left college early to play soccer and believed that he had many more years on the pitch, I was I was absolutely lost. I went into a depression for about 4 months, and
Wow.
like that winter, I didn't go home for Christmas. I didn't really celebrate anything. I just like stayed in, wallowed. I started having panic attacks at night, like in bed, like trying to sleep, and then I just wake up hyperventilating because I didn't know what my future would consist of. So it was a bad little bit. People were around me, they tried to help me, but kind of shunned people away for a while.
Yeah. Sometimes things in life you got to go through it on your own. Obviously having the support of friends and family who love you are always great and necessary, but sometimes you really do just got to go through it on your own until you're ready to start moving forward.
Hmm. And
I'm really happy that you shared that. We've had a few different athletes on here, and every time we do get to that part of the conversation where your career ends and you've given your entire life to a sport that you said, you love. I mean, you live and breathe it. It's not easy. So thank you for sharing that part of the journey because I know it's not easy. I know that's where the mental game of it comes into play. And I'm sorry that one, you had to go through it for the reason you had to.
yeah, well, thank you. I mean, it wasn't just a sport or a profession. It was my life since I was 3, right?
Yeah.
So hard to. It was that not knowing your last game was your last game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was tough, but in the end, MLS came back. They helped me out for a bit, and San Jose was so supportive. I mean, right afterward, I started doing podcasts and things like, "We got you. Like, you're not going away. We want you here as long as possible." So,
Hey, if
I
Pam on
mean,
the pitch ever needs a co-host, I'll let you know.
I was felt a lot of love. If you want to, I'm good. I can do this. I need is a mic. Hey, I gotta get my voice back.
There
Hey,
you
welcome
go.
back to the Bad on the Page.
Shoot in LA. Are you still in the area?
Oh, I'm still in the area right now.
Great. We meet carpool buddies.
I'm down.
So obviously you went and be obviously for obvious reasons you went to a depression. How did you get out of it? Like what was it for you? And I like asking this question to anyone who's gone through some heavy things in their life. What was it for you that finally made you say, you know what, I need to start doing something. I need to find my new purpose. And what was that for you?
Honestly, it was kind of going back into a familiar routine. So even though I was kind of depressed and all that stuff for a while, I still would go in and work out at the gym because it was so familiar. For 11 years at the time, I would wake up every morning, go work out, and then that's how I would start my day. So I started going back into that. And then after a while, when San Jose came up to me and like, we'll help you out, MLS came through and they're like, we're going to do what we can to support you. It was actually all the same things that were there that kind of caused my depression came back and helped me back out of it. So I don't know how that works out, but they showed support for me. And um, it was me actually being able to see a future of some sort because if soccer was everything and that's all I saw and I didn't see it ending, and then the wall is directly in front of me, there's nowhere to go. I think that's what really got me. But them coming around to me and saying, we got this for you, we got this for you, we got this for you, it there was cracks in the wall, and then eventually I could break through and I could see a future, and then I was like, all right, I have a purpose, I have somewhere to go, I have somewhere to be, I have a reason to get up in the
I love that. I'm really happy that one Major League Soccer came through, and they just not only do they already have my support, they just got it that much more, Marvell. And I'm gonna say,
morning.
you can thank Marvell for that because I know you guys came through for the homie. When he was down and out, you were there. Shout out, and it's San Jose. Shout out to you guys too. Go Quakes. Sorry, Galaxy fans.
Yep. Oh, the old shoe. Uh,
I know, right? There was some drama there too. Um, so obviously now that we've gone over your entire career, I'm gonna get into some more fun questions before we move forward to where your views are on soccer today. Throughout your career, you've played against some notable players. Who would you say were some of the hardest players that you faced?
hardest players that I face. So Messi, I mess with Messi in the U20s and on the national team level, and he's just difficult to track. Monster, I mean,
You know,
he's a difficult guy to track.
I'm sorry.
But I think one of the biggest ones, I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo poster boarded me. There was a goal kick, and I was getting in position to go for it. I go down to jump, and he just flies across, heads it past me, and when he does, I kind of do one of these, and it's a picture of me just like grabbing his butt, and he heads it. But thank goodness that was the only picture taken because after that he goes and scores. This is I was on Toronto, and he was on Real
Ronaldo's
Madrid.
butt,
Uh, okay.
the sexiest man alive.
Oh, wait.
I mean,
Okay, but
not my type, but that is what I think he was like on Time magazine. He was on some magazine
oh
as
gosh.
the sexiest man alive.
Oh,
You
I've
know,
heard. I touched his butt, but he did try kicking the ball long and running by me, and he didn't do that. So I know I'm faster than him, or at least I was. And also
ooh,
Ronaldinho was very tricky, and this was the weirdest thing. I was playing against him. He smells really nice. Ronaldinho smelled great. It was weird. I'm defending. I'm like, it's nice. This is when I was in New York. This is my very first year playing at Giant Stadium or the Meadowlands. And I'm just like, what in the world? And he looks at me, he's like, cool stadium, huh? I'm like,
you're like, oh my god,
yes.
it's really so good.
You smell good, bro. It's weird.
Wait, that is amazing. Those are some three notable players. I did not know that you played against Messi and Ronaldo, and that is why I love asking these questions because I get to find out so much more. That is amazing. My next question that I have for you is going back to baseball. Did you follow baseball? Obviously, you followed. Did you follow Major League Soccer before you played professionally?
It was barely on TV. I tried, but you know what? Not really.
I mean,
And I
that's
didn't
what
really follow
was not
baseball.
you.
Yeah. I mean, and so was it. So why a lot of my friends my age are Man United fans is because when the EPL started being shown, Beckham was on the team and they were winning everything. So to this day, a lot of people are like, I'm a Man U fan because I've liked them ever since. Basically, they were shown on TV. And when it came to baseball, I was up to 5 years old. My dad was playing. I was running around with the other kids. The dugout was amazing. The locker room, all the bazooka bubble gum you could want, all the sunflower seeds. I mean, the big league chew. Oh, it was so much fun. I was having fun just running around. I wasn't really like, my dad hit an RBI. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean?
I love the honesty. So were you ever like a Padres fan? Because I know you lived in San Diego. Or could you
I,
say like you just really never followed baseball?
I never really followed baseball. Of course, all my friends were San Diego fans, but my dad from Chicago, I think the Cubs were what's really down on his heart. So they were the team that I really cared for the most.
Wow, I would have never expected that. Okay, the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
Cubs over the White Sox. I respect that. I respect that. Okay, my next question for you is what are your views on where soccer is today? I'm glad that you brought up that when you were younger growing up, it really was not on TV. I'm sure you saw recently that Apple TV just signed a really big contract with Major League Soccer, which is going to be huge for the sport around the world. What are your views on where it is today, and where do you see it or want to see soccer go in America?
Honestly, it's on the rise. It's way up. I believe the generation of players like me are slowly dying down, where you grow up as an athlete, you want to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, and then you choose your sport. I believe now we're going for more pure soccer players. So we're actually raising soccer players. And when it comes to like the national team level and things, I think that it's going to be a it's going to be an interesting transition because we competed in the past because we were more athletic. We had better endurance and we had that fight. We were going to drive. We were going to go through you. We were going to run longer than you. But now we're incorporating more skillful players. But all these other countries have been doing that for so much longer than we have. So if we really want to compete on that level, it's kind of why a lot of our national team players aren't MLS based because they have the developmental leagues and how to train those players to play in a certain way, just basically ingrained in their culture and in their leagues entirely. So I think we are transitioning into that next step. And so, I mean, we're looking kind of good, but honestly, there needs to be some patience. I agree with where we're going, but it's going to take some time. I'm excited to see what happens for sure.
I could not agree with you more. I think from one, I've been a fan of this sport my entire life. I grew up playing it. I was a soccer stats girl for the high school varsity team for 4 years. So I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to statistics of soccer. But from what I've seen in the last, I want to say maybe 5 years, has been a huge change in, like you said, our homegrown players. I feel like they're starting to put more focus on how we can actually create skilled soccer players, which is why I think we're seeing a rise in our own players going over to the English Premier League, going over to play overseas because we're producing that. We're not just producing giant Josie Altidores. I mean, shout out to him. He is an athlete, but we're not just doing that anymore. It's not just the big bad athlete. We're creating these small, fast, good players that know what they're doing on the pitch. So I agree. I think it's going to take patience. I think we just started to make that change in the last few years. In my opinion, I've seen a change in the last maybe like 5 years. And I think this is just the beginning. We have a long way to go, but I think that we're growing rapidly. We're changing things rapidly, and I think the players that we're producing are showing to everyone that we made a change. We're not the same country that just has soccer players playing in the World Cup anymore. We have a good team. And I think us having the youngest men's team in the World Cup goes to show that we've made changes. We're not doing it the old ways anymore. We're doing it a new way. And in a new way, I think that's what's going to be what it takes for us to start winning.
And all that starts at such a young age. So I remember one year I asked some of my teammates, like, how much soccer did you watch growing up? Did you have posters on your wall or anything like that? There might have been one player that said yes. But now we have kids looking up to American soccer players. So they may see certain skill sets and say, I want to be skillful like that. Whereas again, us growing up, like we just become athletes and we choose soccer. I mean, we didn't have people to look up to until we were at a certain age. But these kids grow up with hometown heroes or national team players that they want to idolize and they want to look up to. They're going to start learning those skills earlier, while also developing athleticism and playing multiple sports and coming back to what hopefully they purely love, and it'll drive them up to wherever they may be, national team level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can agree with you more. How far do you see us going in the World Cup with the team that we do have right now?
We have some high highs and we have some low lows. I believe we can in this tournament. I would be more than happy. if we make it out of bracket at such a young age, at such a having such a young team. Beyond that, I would say things get pretty tough, but uh, I think I think out of bracket would be a decent goal of ours, and beyond that, it's difficult for me to say because I'm not sure we have shown the consistency that would allow us to be in such a country in such circumstances and hold ourselves against a lot of seasoned veteran teams in the highest stage in the world.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think we will. I've been saying I think we'll make it out of the bracket. I think from that point moving forward, we're going to struggle, and I don't think it'll be our talent. I think it'll be experience. I think that we're just going to be against a lot of other countries that have been in the World Cup time and time and again. Obviously, we missed out the last time around, and that is going to be something that will show the further we go. So I'm with you on that. My next question: who do you see going far in the World Cup?
The typical staples, but the typical staples, but who I would like to see, I mean, I really wanted to see someone like a Poland go through high. I really did. Um, but I'm one of those guys that just always just says like a Germany.
I was hoping you'd say Argentina.
I want to because of course we want him to win it before it's
Ew,
over. But
I know. I think this is his last World Cup, so I like my heart is like, please, just give this one to Messi, you guys. So this is
just give
for
it
all
to
the
him.
people in the world. Just come on, like this is the last one. And for people like me, my heart might not be able to take it if we don't make it
You
at
know,
least to the final round. At
at
least to
least
the final round.
yeah, but he's got to have the help. I mean, he's
I
proven
know.
to be a player that can do a lot. He can put the team on his back, but he likes to assist. I mean, Ronaldo's the guy that once he'll lead the team and score all the goals. Messi would be like, "Come on, get on top. I'm not going anywhere without you." So, I mean, he has that hope. Then, I mean, he can do it. We'll see.
I know. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I live and breathe for the World Cup. And also for people who like us who love soccer, this is the best time to promote Major League Soccer because now people are actually caring about soccer because the whole world is going to be watching. Now, I did ask you this earlier. I gave you some time to work on this. If you had to create your own team, who would you have starting for the men's US team? Now, you could pick any former or current players who have played for the men's national team. But if you could create your own team, they're headed to the World Cup. We're going to go against Argentina. Who are you picking? Let's start from the
So,
back to the front.
so after you asked me this, I realized I am such an old school guy. And I have a lot of California love. I brought this up. I was kind of embarrassed. Dun, 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 dun. So
Can't.
of course I went with the 4-4-2
Okay.
because I like my wings getting up there and being offensive in that route. So I went Tim Howard as our back. I
That's
went Carlos Bocanegra.
good. I wish we could get Tim Howard into like a time machine and bring him back to when he was like in his prime and
Yep,
put him back in the goal.
that man is. I mean, he gets it. He gets soccer. I was gonna have Carlos Bocanegra and Eddie Pope as center backs. They know how to control the field. Eddie Pope, I know the way he communicates is very precise. He's not a loud guy, but when he talks, you listen. I was gonna have Steve Carundolo and Frankie Hannock on the sides. Again, runners. I want fitness. I want these guys getting up and down, getting these crosses in. I mean, I'm telling you, I was going through this. I was like, Marv, come on, man. You don't. You're gonna go with this? I'm like, all right. In the middle, even more old school. Claudio Reyna. I played with him in New York Red Bulls. He prefers the ball with pressure on his back. He would be able to get out of any situation, and he was so composed. Along with Tab Ramos, controlling everything that happens in the middle. On the sides, I went Demarcus Beasley on the left and Pulisic on the right. I went again crosses and fitness.
A little
These
old
guys
school
got
and cool.
yeah, they got moves, they got the skill to go up and down. I really like the way they both play. Demarcus Beasley is a friend of mine, so I might be just showing him a little love. And up top, so there are a lot of goals scored between set pieces in the World Cup, and the U.S. can use a little help. So I have Landon Donovan, pretty simple, and I want someone to get their head on the ball, so I have Brian McBride.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
I
is
want Brian
quite
McBride.
him. That is
I
quite the
want.
team. You know what I need to do? I need to go back and watch every episode and look to see who you guys have all chosen the same player of.
Okay,
Howard's been a popular one. Howard's been popular. Go figure. Pulisic
sure,
obviously has been a very popular. Donovan, I always hear someone say Donovan. You got to put Donovan back out there. That was
sure.
incredible.
Yeah, I was going to. I was like, man, are you even watching the new teams? Like, what are you doing? I was like, come on, man, social life. I was like, this bias. I'm an old school guy.
You know what though? Our old school guys were good guys. We've had some great
Mhm.
old school guys. We have. We have. And I think that obviously as time has gone on, yes, we have new talent and they're great new talent. I mean, I think our men's national team who we have now, I'm excited to see how they grow into being stronger, more experienced players. But I mean, you can never go wrong with someone like a Howard. You can't. Donovan was Donovan for a reason. So I think that our old school players do deserve a shout out. So I appreciate it.
Bring in old guys. You get old school teams.
Dude, too bad we can't throw some old school guys back out there. Imagine if we did. They'd probably be like, okay, what is the US doing? We're already in the World Cup at this point. May as well. May as well.
Yeah, switch it up on them.
Yeah, maybe Howard can show the new goalie some tips and tricks and be like, hey man, I've been here, been there, done that. I think he has like the most saves in World Cup history or for the US.
Mm,
Yeah,
that
I
would make
have
a lot of
to
sense.
Nick, can you fact check me? Yeah, Nick, I'm gonna put Nick on it. I always have to
The
do
thing is, it was either Tim Howard or or might have gone Brad Friedel. Like I was gonna go old school again. Just that's just where my head goes.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Howard because I did an entire episode all on the World Cup, looking at old players, new
Mm,
players, and I want to say when we played against maybe it was Germany, he had like it was a crazy amount
yes.
of goals. I think you know what game I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what game you're talking about. Obama said something about it. He was like, if I had a Secretary of Defense, I would have got Tim Howard. I remember making that joke. I was like, what is happening?
Dude, shout out to Obama watching soccer. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, Nick found it.
Against Belgium, he had 16 saves.
Belgium.
That's what it was. 16 saves.
That's the one.
He
Yeah.
broke some record where he had like they couldn't get past him.
Hmm.
Come on, Tim Howard. I know you played for the Rapids as at the end of your career. If you ever want to come back,
Right.
this might be your sign. This is it. Go show Turner what to do on the pitch.
39 shots that game too.
39 shots and he had
Oh,
16 saves.
geez.
Good for him.
Pelted.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Did you get to play with Howard or no?
National team a little bit. I think we went to Confederations Cup together, possibly the Copa America.
Copa America. I love Copa America. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite tournaments. I don't know why. It's like not a big one, like as big obviously as like the World Cup, but it's still really fun. It's so fun to watch.
Oh, great time.
America. Oh, I love it. Yeah, because I know Howard played in Colorado for I think it was like around 2018, right? When he went there.
Yep.
I
That's
guess
after me.
right when you were ending. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, Marvell, we're gonna get in to the end of the show. Now, the end of the show gets fun. Obviously, we've gone over your career. You've had an incredible career. Now we've talked on your views in soccer. Before we get into the final part, I asked this for everyone who has been a former player or who is still involved with soccer. What do you think we need to do in the U.S. to continue to grow the sport of soccer?
At this point, I believe the exposure is there. It's almost as if we just need to accept it. I believe that, my dad's generation growing up, he said you played soccer if you couldn't play anything else. My generation was you played soccer, but you wanted to play another sport because that's what your parents were into. Not everyone was into soccer. And now we have generations of people that like soccer and they're teaching their kids soccer. So I think we're doing everything right. I just think it needs to be accepted. There are people still that say, soccer isn't a real sport or soccer is boring. The more you understand soccer, the more you can appreciate it. If you look at it and say, it was a tie, no goals, it wasn't a good game. Whereas if you enjoy soccer, you can see the dance of going front to back. You can understand the beauty of a 40 yard dime onto someone's feet and see them one touch it out of the air and then get a cross into a header. Like, we understand that. So I think the acceptance of soccer is pretty much the only thing that's lacking. We're trying. We're knocking at the door. All people need to do is give it a little crack and maybe go inside, let us in, and enjoy the beauty.
I love that I just asked you that because your answer was absolutely incredible. You're right. I think we've been doing everything right. I think that people need to just stop saying, oh, they fall to the ground. Like, I don't want to watch that. Oh, all these ties. Like, I can't watch a sport that ends in a tie. They're not understanding everything that is happening on the field in those 90 minutes. Like you said, there's a lot of other sports where people stand around and wait for the ball. There's a lot of other sports where people are not running across an entire field back and forth for 90 minutes. So I agree. I think it's just finally accepting that soccer is a sport. It's the number one sport in the world for a reason. For a reason.
Beautiful
So
game.
it is a beautiful game. Okay, so we always end the show with one. Some of the fans of the show, they ask questions. So we're gonna ask the one question from Mickey. Mickey says, Marvell on. I swear I have good vision. Okay, here it is. Marvell, how was it for such a young player then breaking into a professional career in soccer? What was available in the clubs to progress to that stage? Ooh, that's a good question, Mickey.
I would say it was my teammates. Um, they had all been there before, so they understand. It's not like a fraternity where you're coming in as a youngin and then you're the one that gets picked on. It was, if you're on my team, you are my teammate. The better you do, the better we do. So get under my wing, listen to me. We're going to help you grow, everyone together. I mean, when you get out there at practice, you can't hide anymore. You're out there and you're playing with players who have like a decade's more experience than you. My first year, I had Yuri Djorkaeff, who won the World Cup with France in '98, and he would tell me things, and when he spoke, could barely understand him, but my jaw was agape, and I just absorbed everything that I possibly could. And even with Tony Mule in the back, being just a legend, he would tell me how to move and where to be and how to predict how the play was going to go and all this other stuff. So the biggest help, being a young player going into the pro scene, are your teammates. You don't want to just blindly trust everything they say, but you take every little bit of what each person says, you incorporate that into your style of play, and that's how you create your own character as a professional soccer player.
Wow, I'm really glad that Mickey asked that because I didn't even think about that. Obviously, back then, I feel like there's a lot more support now. Once you get into the clubs, and there's like a lot more training, a lot more hands-on help. But that's so true. I guess during your time, it would have been just experienced players helping you guys, like the new young guys coming in, being like, "Watch what I do with my thick accent."
Exactly.
Perfect. Thank you, Mickey, for asking that question. We appreciate that. Okay, Marvell, this is the wrap up of the show. We are going into rapid questions, okay? Nick here is going to put a 1-minute timer on, and I'm just going to be firing questions, okay?
Ready.
Are you ready? No time to think, Marvell. We're going in there like swimwear. Ready, Nick?
Yep.
All right. Let's go.
3, 2, go.
Pineapples on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Vodka or tequila, hater?
Tequila.
Red wine or white wine?
Red.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Yes, France or Germany?
Germany.
LA Galaxy or LAFC?
FC.
What is your spirit animal?
Cat.
30 seconds.
Oh yeah, SC or LA?
SD.
New York or LA?
LA.
East Coast, West Coast?
West Coast.
Blondes or brunettes?
Brunettes.
15.
Favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Worst subject in school?
Chemistry.
Donovan or Pulisic?
Donovan.
5.
I was gonna ask you cats or dogs, so I already know
3.
this one. Go!
Oh, it's always cats.
Cats! Meow!
That's it.
Woo! That was stressful.
Dang it. I had one left. We were so close. That was good.
What was the last one?
Who's your most influential person?
I was gonna say my dad.
Oh, I love that. Hey, Mr.
Hmm.
Marvell Wynne, the first. The second said you're
Yes.
the most influential person. Wait, Mickey does have one more question for you. We'll ask that one, and then I do want everyone to know where to follow you, where to support you, and what you're up to now. Mickey says,
It was actually a comment.
"Oh, never mind,
He
Mickey."
he just dropped in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that in questions.
Oh, well, we'll read it. Ronaldo over Messi all day. Oh, excuse you.
Oh, he's a
Sorry to say that
CR7. That's fair.
to you, right? To two Messi
Yeah.
supporters here. He's gonna win. You better watch Mickey Dunn. I'll come for
Hmm.
you in Ireland. I think that's where you said you were from. I'll come to you. And Big Chileani, what do you say? Chileani?
He said Big Chilean gonna kill it for LAFC.
Okay, well, you know how I feel. LA Galaxy all day, gang, gang. Loyal to the soil. I am loyal to the soil, no matter how many loses and losses and horrible seasons we have. I'm not going anywhere, LA Galaxy. Don't you guys worry.
Oh,
I know. I really am. I'm loyal to a fault with every sports team and every athlete. I just ride or die, man. Ride or die. It's because I was born that way.
there you go.
Yeah. All right, Marvell, where can everyone find you these days and what are you up to now? Tell the people everyone.
Want to see me on them socials? I am Marv Win 22. Um, and right now I am been bouncing around the country checking out different soccer venues and basically enjoying the cities where I was able to play but didn't have a lot of time to experience. So I am living the retired life, um,
Oh, I love that.
enjoying this fine country.
I love that. So you're going to just checking out all the new stadiums.
I am. I'm gonna be in Austin in August, and I want to make my way over to Charlotte before the end of the year.
Dude, I want to see Charlotte Stadium as well. I heard Nashville just did they finish their stadium? They just finished theirs
That's
too.
right. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nashville and Charlotte are also on my list to go check out their stadium. LAFC's I hate saying this like live. LAFC has they have a really nice stadium too. Oh, the LA Galaxy fans may come for me. I'm just kidding. All love, guys. I'm a soccer lover. But no, I think that's incredible. You should enjoy the retired life. I do hope to see you doing something in soccer again. If you could, what would you do?
If I got to get back in there, I would definitely be a strength coach. I would. I love the side of the. I like the fitness aspect of soccer. I could
Okay.
teach the defensive side of things with tactics, but I myself, being 5'9", having to go against some monsters, um, I enjoy the physical aspects as well.
I love that. Well, good. You just manifested it on Pam on the pitch. So we will pitch you. It's
Love
been
it.
released into the universe. Well, Marvell, thank you so much for joining us. You guys know where to find him on Instagram and Twitter.
Hmm.
Marv Win 22.
That's right.
22. Marv, thank you so much for joining us. I had a lot of fun. I hope that I can bring you back on again at some point. And thank you again for joining us on Pam on the Pitch.
Yeah. Thank you. This was amazing.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of
had
fun.
a lot of fun too. All right, I'll see you soon. Take care, Marvell.
Bye.
Bye. That was so much fun. One, I love having guests on here. It's a lot of fun to pick people's brains, but I adore Marvell. I met him through another friend of the podcast, Scott, who we had on here. And I think Marvell is an incredible person. He has great energy about him. I've been looking forward to putting him on the podcast, and I'm so glad that we did. He has an incredible story, and I'm excited to see where his life takes him. Now, we are going to be wrapping up the show, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully, we have some more fun new topics next week. And also, I have some news. Next week, I am taking my grandma for her 85th birthday to go watch Elvis. She's like a diehard Elvis fan. Like, since I was a kid, I remember she had this like little like phone that would sing Jailhouse Rock when it would ring. So we would always press the button. We like killed the battery. She'd get so mad at us. But she's been a diehard Elvis fan since I was a kid, since as far back as I can remember. And for her 85th birthday, I told her that I was going to take her to go watch the new movie in theaters. So I'm going to take her tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week. So because of that, Pam on the Pitch will be going live at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, 4 p.m. Pacific time, we will be going live on the Bullhorn app again. So make sure that you are there. And then right after, I will be going to take my grandma to go see Elvis. And I'm so excited. I will talk to you guys more about that then. I had so much fun today, you guys. Mickey, Bunk, thank you guys so much for being here. Next week, we will be having another guest. I will be promoting that guest, and you guys can ask a lot of questions again as you are. Mickey, thank you for asking questions. It makes the show that much more exciting. Until next time, you guys, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining. Toodles.